that we have identified in the very beginning, and we've been collecting information to determine if it's feasible or not. We've had, like I said, our consultants assisting us along the way. And Monday and Tuesday, we'll get some answers to some of the questions we've had regarding our projects. And as a council, going to sit down and prioritize what's important, what's needed, and put together a budget and a plan.
Okay. Do you know anything about the DARES employees?
No, that would fall underneath the vice chairman and his COVID task force.
Okay. They want to know what happened after, like when all those employees tested positive and they closed the building. What kind of actions were taken to make sure that those packages that were being put together were safe?
So I do know that we are requesting everybody, we shut down all the entrances to the admin building. We have everybody coming in through the main entrance with security, and temperatures are being checked. You have to sign in, and there's questions that you're going to be asked, standard questions to help us measure whether you've been in contact with somebody who has been diagnosed with COVID-19. So we have a series of questions and a screening process for all of those entering the building.
Okay. All right. So the next series of questions have to do with transparency. So they're interested in how do you get council programs and directors to become compliant with transparency, and what steps would you take to make amendments to the Constitution and bylaws to ensure that everybody complies rather than just kind of a do as I please mentality?
That's a good question. You got two issues in that question. Okay, so the first one is the program managers with transparency. And I've talked with council, and so far I've made the motion that all of council for this term's minutes be placed on our tribal webpage. And I did visit with council and the vice chairman. I said I'd like to see also our boards and committees minutes be placed on there as well, as long as our monthly program manager reports. So that way all of our tribal members have a avenue to look up information and learn about the issues that are rising in each of our programs and with our boards and with tribal government. So I think that is a good starting point, that we just identify a place to put our information so our people can research it out and familiarize them and educate themselves with the issues here at the tribe.
So is that going to happen?
The motion was made. I will follow up and make sure that can get that moving, but yeah.
Okay. And then how will you enforce accountability as a council?
So there we have, that's a really good question, because we have separation of duty within our Constitution. So the executives are responsible for administrative operations of the tribe, meaning that they oversee the tribal programs. We're legislative, so we oversee policy changes and changing our codes. So I'm not really sure how, as council, right now, that we're able to make any changes to any of our administrative, because it doesn't fall under our line of authority. But one thing I'm learning, being new in here and coming from a background of compliance, where I did work with a lot of policy, a lot of law, federal law, making sure that our casinos are in compliance with that federal law and our policies are lining up, that it would be good for us to take I've initiated a governance review where we get an attorney assigned to council. We just sit down and we just start looking at all our boards and committees and commissions and our codes, and an audit type of thing, to where we can see where our authorities are at and our responsibilities in each of these areas are at. Also,
I think that's a great approach, because do we need all these boards and committees still? I mean, you know.
and so that I can't answer that until we are able to compile all of this information and really be able to take a look at it. Another area I think we would need is like an ethics commission. So should any of our boards or committees, or should we have ethical misconduct anywhere, we have an ethics commission that will be the investigator over that, fact finder, and then that comes to tribal council. Right now, it seems like we're responsible for all of it, and we do need to segregate these type of duties and responsibilities out, and just streamline it and make it just for the integrity of a sound process and the protection of our people. Because when we have high profile, serious concerns come up, we should really have a sound process that ensures our people that we are looking into it thoroughly and fairly for the person in question, and also those who are responsible to make a decision out of the findings.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of connected to that, if we're talking about ethics and things like that, they want to know, should the drug testing policy for tribal employees be changed? Do you think the tribe's doing enough drug testing?
I think that you're going to have two different avenues here. My experience is more with gaming and less with tribal. But right now, I think it's okay until we can come up with better ways to help our employees, till we can come up with treatment. And that's one of our projects we are looking at, is a long-term treatment facility. Until we can invest into inpatient, outpatient, day treatment, long-term treatment, we don't want to flood one area of our system if we're not capable of helping our people through it. So if we over test and we don't have the resources to get them the help they need, then we're kind of defeating the purpose, I think. So I think right now the way we're testing is structured to the assistance and what we can provide. But we need to keep in mind that we do need to grow and expand, and we need to fix that. We need to find a way to help our people that do struggle with addiction.
Okay, so this one's kind of a long list of questions. They want to know if you owe SWO any monies from past loans. They want to know, as an elected official, have you accepted any SWO bonuses, severance pay, annual leave?
No, I have not.
And then they want to know how you propose to reduce and get the tribe out of debt.
That is a really good question. It takes money to make money. And right now we place all of our eggs in one basket, meaning we've placed all of our we depend too much on gaming. And
I think we've learned that just from this.
Yes, with this COVID has to me fleshed out a lot of opportunity. One of the motions I recently made, and in the very beginning of COVID-19, we saw how our medical industry had been impacted as a nation, and that a lot of the medical resources had to be imported in, and they weren't able to get that because of the not allowing travel. And one of the things I realized and I learned is, one example is, no place in America manufactures IV bags, right? And so IV bags are needed in every hospital, and it's needed even outside of this pandemic. So if we as a tribe can even just capitalize on 1 or 2% of manufacturing IV bags, that's guaranteed revenue for the tribe, and that can launch our economic development program. So that's something that council and I, all of us have talked about. I made a motion for planning to start researching that out. And if there's a way that we can capitalize on some of the areas that have been recognized through this pandemic, that we as Indian nations, sovereign, tribally owned, we should be successful in capturing contracts for stuff like this, and that's guaranteed revenue, and that's another stream outside of gaming that we can invest into our economic development, because it's, and then with that type of revenue we can build upon our for-profits that we currently have. We can expand them, we can get them the equipment they need. There's just so much we could do if we took that type of approach.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Dakota Crossing grocery store. One of the questions was, it's been reported by SWO Financial Records that our Dakota Crossing grocery store has been losing $100,000 per month for the past 2 years. We've lost approximately $2 million on this for-profit tribally owned business. At this rate, do we keep the store open, or do we admit we made a mistake and close it? And if we close it, what would the building be used for?
Okay, so that's a good question. Since we took office, we had struggled with the ability to be able to produce financial reports because of just the system that we have in there. The lack of getting somebody in there to really just take a look at our financials and get that in order. We did move, like I said earlier, with Stephen Gunn. He was originally brought on to take a look at our for-profit, or to our grocery store specifically, to help us find a management team that can come in that specialize in grocery stores and help us get a good understanding of what's going on there financially. Because before we know that, I can't really make a decision or not. And right shortly after we had approved his contract, then we got hit with COVID. So then that just put us even back further. So we realized that, you know, we need to get these financials in order to even make that decision. I can't even say 100% that we're losing that much money. We have not been able to get any good financials because we need to get that in order.
Okay. And so they want to know, here's another financial related question. In 2016, we have a positive net position of 99 million after liabilities. In 2019, we had 37 million of expenses and projects. Assume we have a similar net position in 2020, how or would the remaining 62 million be utilized?
So 2016, we had really good revenues in 2016, and that was based off of our Cabell. 2019, we got to realize that we got hit with COVID. So our numbers are not going to be anything close to that. Without being able to really take a look at our tribal audit and know exactly at the end of the year what our expenses and revenues really were, that's going to be really hard to answer that question, because a lot of our revenue that comes in, we do have operating expenses, payroll, and everything like that. So it's hard to say exactly what those numbers would be. They're just two totally different situations.
Okay, and I have just a couple more questions left. One is they want to know where you stand on off-reservation voting, mail-in ballots, and what do you think about our petition approach?
The petition, I'm not familiar with the petition approach, I guess. How I feel about, okay, so off-reservation voting, I feel it's in our Constitution that all of our tribal members at 18 or older who are enrolled are eligible to vote. And I feel as a tribe, we should make an avenue available for those who do not live on the reservation to vote. At the same time, we also, if we're going to do that, we also need to create a platform where people can get educated on the issues that's happening within the tribe. And that's why I've made the motion to get this information on our web, our tribal web page. So I'm in support of off-res voting. I think we are a nation of one. You can pick any district you'd like to be from, but at the end of the day, we are one people. And just the way the America is moving right now, we need to be united, and we need to find a way to be united. And off-reservation experience, I welcome it. Like I said, I traveled as a young girl to different places. I've been exposed to different culture, and I think it's good to have that type of input brought back to the tribe. If you have an experience that you've learned out there and you see a blind spot that we have, we should be open to that constructive criticism and that type of experience. So I'm open to that. Now on the mail-in ballot, I'm comfortable with how REB set up. It has explained how they're going to set up mail-in ballots. They're going to utilize the code as it is written. You request for your mail-in ballot if you are high risk or anything like that, and it complies with the way it is, the laws currently right now, and that's meaning all on reservation members will be able to utilize the mail-in ballot. I feel I can't answer to the process. What did they call it? The petition.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I can't answer to that because I'm not familiar. But if we have, at least 3 or more districts coming in voting for that, and maybe that be applied for next election, that could get passed. But it's just going to take 3 or more districts coming in with a motion for that. I'm thinking.
Okay. I'll send you some information about the petition after this, just for your own information. Okay, so I have one more question. Actually, it's probably like 3 questions, but they want.
So wait, let me back. Can I back up, Shannon?
Sure. Yeah.
So for the mail-in ballot, if there was amendments, are there amendments currently to the code for that, or was that because I'm not familiar, I guess, with the petition.
No, what the petition is for is it's to force a secretarial election. So because our Constitution and our election code are out of line with each other, we can request that the BIA step in and run an election that would change our Constitution. And it would be available for all members to vote, not just on reservation or off reservation.
Okay.
So if we can get 10% of our voting age members to sign the petition, then we present them to the BIA, and then they have so many days before they will call for an election, and the tribe won't run it. It will be run by the BIA.
So then I'll circle back, and outside of that process, then if that didn't work, then we would have to make those amendments to Chapter 3, and then those would have to be presented back to the districts for their approval of those changes, and then brought to community forum, and then before council for vote.
Yeah.
So that would be the process outside of that.
And we kind of discussed it a little bit on our off-res page, and I told them that if members of this group wanted to, they could become proponents and bring it to judicial, and then we'll take it through the process again. But you and I have had conversations about that we have a set process. We've utilized it since 2013, and maybe it just needs to be changed for clarity, because it currently doesn't require a motion of approval from the districts, and it probably needs to, because I think that's kind of where I don't know if it. I mean, I kind of think that's why it didn't work bringing it in, because not all the districts made it.
And maybe even if there was just like a notice to council saying that, okay, we're in this stage of it now, it's going to go out to districts for so many days to move them for a motion, either to approve or deny
Yeah.
the changes, I think would be at a minimum something that would clarify our process, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they want to know, are there severance packages set up for exiting tribal council members if they get voted out in November? And are they allowed to cash in their leave?
Okay, so there is severance. In the very beginning, council, DCA brought in a past motion that had gone through the process, and the people did do a petition. They did have the amount of signatures. And I don't know totally why that wasn't honored, but this council chose to honor that. And we did take away the leave, and we did cut the FICA. And I believe the severance wasn't removed. It wasn't one of the things that was to be changed. So yes, the severance is there, but no, we wouldn't be cashing in our leave.
Okay.
And the FICA had been reduced from, I think, 15% to 7.5.
So last question. We've been hearing that council got a raise, or that certain members of council got a raise for handling the CARES Act fund. And is there any truth to that?
No.
Okay. Good. I'm actually really glad, because that has been like a rumor that's been like wildfire and been getting people all kinds of fired up. So
I know. No, that's not true.
I'm really glad we could dispel that. Okay, great. That's all my questions. Do you have anything else to say to everybody before we sign off?
No, I just want to thank you for letting me do this. This is like new to me, kind of nervous, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Shannon.
Okay, thanks everybody for watching, and we're going to end here, but we will have future lives with other candidates. We're in the process of scheduling them now, so I just really appreciate everybody joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.